Shabbat Shalom. This week we had our annual campaign volunteer training. This is for people who work in our annual campaign and ask for the important pledges and gifts that fund the programs that help people in our community. Without it, people would not have the skills to be able to do this job and the comfort level. And that's very important. This is a hard thing to do for many people because, let's face it, asking people for money is something that we don't ordinarily do. And it's something that people really fear in terms of being rejected and people saying no. And yet it can be one of the most rewarding things that we do in the community. It's a mitzvah to ask for money, for tzedakah money in the community. But people don't recognize that. And even if they did, this fear of rejection is something that keeps them from doing it. But we have to keep in mind what this is for and what happens in the process. When there really is a sit down and a face-to-face with someone, and you have the opportunity to exchange information and to understand where the other person is coming from and why they do what they do and why they care about the Jewish community and why they want to or perhaps don't want to give money, there is a new relationship that you have with someone you didn't have before and a new understanding. And in most cases, what I find is that after having this kind of conversation, the asking part for the money becomes very easy because you've established a bond and an understanding that you didn't have before the conversation began. But we have to keep in mind when we do this, why we do it, and who do we do it for. And we had a couple of examples of that at the training. We had a woman who was helped by our Help at Home services. This is something that it's a program that we fund through the Jewish Family Service. And actually, for those who think that it's not valuable to help our overseas programming and the people we help overseas, this was a program that we established after seeing what our partners, the JDC, do in Israel. And this is basically a handyman program. They call it in Israel a community father or mother program, where someone comes in and helps people with basics. It could be changing a light bulb. It could be repairing a leaky toilet. And we heard a woman who is being helped by this program. And it's a wonderful thing. She pays a sliding fee based on her ability to pay. And while she has family in the community, oftentimes, as is the case, this family is too busy or not able to help with these kinds of tasks that in some way are menial and we take for granted, but for an elderly person are very, very important. The other area that we heard someone talk about was our KU Hillel. Total opposites in terms of the demographic stream, but also very important in terms of the programs that we fund through Hillel. This is our next generation of leadership. And we do outreach programs there. We help with leadership training programs. We help with a leadership program that sends kids to Israel who come back and become leaders at KU Hillel. And our speaker, who is Jay Lewis, head of Hillel, told us that many of these kids go on not only to take leadership roles at the Hillel at KU, but go on either when they come to Kansas City after they graduate or to communities that they may move to, and they become young leaders in the communities that they go to. And this is extremely important if we are to have a future. A demographic snapshot that we did a few years ago showed that, and this is very much in line with the national Jewish demographic surveys, that our population is aging rapidly. And we have a much larger senior population than the general population. And so it's important to help our seniors any way that we can. And we have a lot of programs that we fund through the annual campaign in that area. But it's also to take in mind and to keep in mind that it's important for the future, if we are to have a future and have a Jewish community in the future, that we need young leaders. We need people that are going to step up, and we need to train them in order to do that. And so what we do at KU Hillel and in our business and professional programming and other kinds of things that we do, our Emerging Jewish Leaders program is extremely valuable and important as well. So this year, when someone asks you to help at Super Sunday or to help with any aspect of the campaign. And by the way, a good way to get your feet wet is to do something non-solicitation in the campaign and to see what it's like. Write a thank you note or make a thank you call. Or just help out, serve beverages at Super Sunday, or be a runner. Any of those things can help ease the way into the asking part. And I think you will find ultimately the rewards in doing the asking are great and far overshadow the fear of doing the asking. So I hope to be seeing you this year and look forward to your help. And I thank those of you who are already doing it. Shabbat Shalom.